Well, we knew it'd come down to a battle of the quarterbacks, Cade Helms versus Liam Zarka. We knew it'd be close. We knew that Army had the edge, based off their play this year, and it turned out just about that way. Close matchup. Air Force just made too many mistakes. Throw the record out the window. Just evenly matched teams, but what we found was in the second quarter, crucial mistakes, interception, missed field goal. Even then, Air Force goes down 3-10 at half. Come back in the third quarter, another interception from Zarka. They still find a way to tie it up going into the fourth quarter, and then you get a fumble from one of two fumbles from Zarka, and now it's just sort of out of reach. Army takes advantage of it. They win this game 20-17. Cade Helms was the better quarterback that day. He made the fewest of mistakes, no picks, no fumbles, played effective football. Of course, Zarka always feels like he's putting the team on his back, and he has to in some circumstances, but just can't have it. 2 picks. He had 91 yards on the ground, 2 rushing scores, and yet the same old story is it's another close matchup that Air Force just really couldn't get the better of, and now they're 2-6 on the season. Most notably, Army hasn't had the biggest success rate at home. They're 2-3 at home. Just rough going for Troy Calhoun and this Falcons team. It's been competitive, but has found themselves unable to come out with these one-score game possessions, and they drop another one. They've now lost to Army and Navy on the season. Definitely a year that seems like it's wrapped up, and you just try and finish out the next 3-4 weeks. Tough go at it for Air Force. Final score in this one: Army 20, Air Force 17. Talk about an upset in Sin City, New Mexico, just finding another way to win. Getting up on UNLV by 21 at one point. They finished this game out 40-35. Huge victory for New Mexico and Jason Eck, and everything they've continued to do this year was shock the Mountain West, and impressive play. Like I said, New Mexico, they get up 21-0 on these guys against UNLV. In the second quarter, the Rebels come running back. 2 quick scores, take advantage of a pick six, and now it's a tie ball game at 21. And then 2 plays later, Lobos score again. Jack Lane able to find Keegan Johnson all through the day. Some big plays there. Lobos take advantage of a huge fumble from Calandra, basically at their 50. They find a way to get another 3 points. They go up 10 points at the half, 31-21 in the second half. UNLV would find some momentum. They'd find some momentum, hold the Lobos to 3 points in the third quarter. UNLV would score again quickly. Midway through the fourth quarter, it'd be UNLV taking the lead. 1 point lead, 34-35. And the Lobos just engineer a perfect drive to get in the end zone, and they win this game 40-35. The turnovers from UNLV were just too costly. They came at crucial points, and the Lobos were able to capitalize on them. Completely, unpredictable style that the Lobos offense has been working with the past few weeks. They placed Lobstein, backup quarterback, in some design QB runs that's worked effective for them. Jack Lane has looked better the past couple of weeks. Keegan Johnson came up huge in this game. 6 receptions for 158 yards and a touchdown. Damon Bengston getting it through. Receiving, he had 122 yards and 2 touchdown scores. Overall, Jack Lane had 342 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. Meanwhile, Lobstein was the leading rusher. He had 99 yards off of 8 carries. Really drove them downfield. He also had another passing touchdown. He was 2 for 3, had 29 yards there. So they may be one of the few teams in the country that's able to utilize a 2-quarterback system effectively. Anthony Calandra played well. He had 382 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. Another 41 yards rushing. He was the leading rusher for the Rebels. But those turnovers were costly, and New Mexico was able to capitalize on them. New Mexico defense played incredibly well. They've been really stopping opposing offenses the past 3-4 weeks. Really effective. When you're going up against 2 scrappy teams that sort of keep themselves in games despite making mistakes, it comes for an interesting turnout. This game was certainly interesting. the fact that the Lobos were able to get up, 3 scores on them, and yet UNLV was able to come back like they usually do in the second half, put on a strong performance, but it was UNLV defense unable to stop the Lobos and their passing attack or design QB runs. We still have 3-4 games left in the season for teams, but I mean at this point I would have to feel like Jason Eck is a strong candidate for Coach of the Year. The fact that no one really knew anything about what this program would be doing this season. A lot of unknown guys, a lot of unknown coaches coming from FCS ranks for the fact that they're now bowl eligible, 6-3 on the season, and have a good chance to win their next 2-3 games, and at this point possibly slip themselves in a Mountain West title game. That's pretty exciting for Lobo fans. As for UNLV, they're still there. Definitely a game that they thought they would have had in the bag, but they're still in contention, and now there's 4 or 5 teams all bidding for the same 2 spots into a Mountain West title game. UNLV's still there. They can still get it. I think Dan Mullen will have them rolling for the next couple of weeks, but tough loss at home, but to a really good New Mexico team. 40-35 is your final score. New Mexico over UNLV. Something no one had on their bingo card going into Week 10. Upset of Boise State by Fresno State. No one expected Maddox Matson to go down early in this game, and just Fresno State to win this game led by Carson Conklin, and the fact that passing was non-existent, and they still easily handle Boise State 30-7 on this one. Carson Conklin, 10 for 21, 35 yards, and the fact they're able to put up 30 points against that Boise State defense. A hampered offense with Maddox Matson out early. Max Cutforth comes in this game. He throws 2 picks on the day, 1 touchdown. It's one of these games where, despite your starting quarterback going out in this one, you just felt like Boise State should have had this game in the bag, or at least been more competitive. In the second half alone, fumble, interception, and then the rest are punts and loss on downs. But come on, really, I think Boise State defense would have done better. I felt like the running game still should have been more effective. The fact that they're only able to put up 1 touchdown on the day and not really compete with the Bulldogs from start to finish. They started the first 3 possessions with punts in the first quarter for Broncos. I think I said it before with the previews. I felt like Fresno State was the worst 5-3 team, in the Mountain West and around the country, and they still feel that way. They're 6-3 on the season. They win this game handily, but they still feel and look like an awkward team, but they're bowl eligible now. 6 wins on the season. Get a great win against Boise State. Question marks offensively still, at least at the quarterback position. They still find ways to win. Effective running game. Defense coming up big. I thought the UNLV New Mexico game had implications. This has way bigger implications going forward. Now, Fresno State 6-3 on the season. Boise State 6-3 on the season. I believe both are. Fresno State's 3-2 in conference play. Boise State's now 4-1 in conference play, 3-1 in conference play. It's now you have 5-6 teams, all within themselves. 3-2 record, 4-1 record. The only undefeated being San Diego State. Now everyone's back in the mix. There's so many teams fighting through the next 3-4 weeks that it really is anyone's game, all because of this result. Got to give credit to Bryson Donaldson and Rayshawn Luke really hammering this one home for Fresno State. And then Ramirez had a pretty good day as well on running the ball. Maybe you don't need effective QB play to win in this conference, because Fresno State's had question marks at the quarterback position all season long, and they still win these games. I'd say the biggest takeaway from this is, now Boise State still very much likely, possibility for being in a Mountain West title game, but their playoff chances are gone. Just done. Three losses on the season in conference play to Fresno State. They're not getting into the playoffs, but still can be shooting for that Mountain West title game and a strong finish to the season. Fresno State wins this one 30, Boise State 7. I feel like you almost didn't even need to watch this game to know the outcome of it. I mean, going into halftime, 7-17, 5 total interceptions had already been thrown between both teams. 3 for Caden Anderson, 2 for Denegal. Uh, that's about what you would expect. A low-scoring game. San Diego State proving to be, the better team. Lucky Sutton had a huge day, 158 yards, a touchdown. Um, the Cowboys' lone score coming first, and they had to do it with Landon Sims throwing the ball. So we knew Wyoming had offensive struggles, and that continues through this season. San Diego State, they're a really good team defensively and do enough offensively to win. They win another one, and now they're the lone undefeated team in conference play, 4-0 in the season, 7-1 overall. They're proof that when you have a great defense and good enough running game, you can win games on the season, and they're that 7-1. They're the team, surprisingly enough, that has a chance at going not only to the Mountain West title game, but if they go win out the rest of the season, they'll find themselves in that coveted playoff spot. San Diego State team that was 3-9 a year ago. Really have to give Sean Lewis credit for what he's able to do, turning around this Aztecs team in a season, and now they're at the top for now, the Mountain West, and everything they want is in front of them. As for Wyoming, it's another game where you knew it was going to be tough, and you knew the lack of offensive play was going to be struggling for the Cowboys, but still within reach. 4-5 in the season now, 2-3 in conference play. If they can find a way in their next 3 games to squeak out 2 of those, they'll find themselves in a bowl game. As for San Diego State, they have a tough matchup coming up. They got San Jose State, they got Boise State, they got Hawaii, and they got New Mexico. So tough Final 4 games for them. But if they're able to get the better of at least 3 of those, they could find themselves sitting pretty nice in Mountain West standings. So great performance from them. Huge kudos to the Aztecs defense. Owen Chambliss coming up big with the interception and leading with 13 tackles on the day, 8 of those solo tackles. Great defense, proving to be the best defense, not only in the Mountain West, one of the best defenses in the country. San Diego State wins this one 24-7 over Wyoming. It's insane to believe that San Jose State only has 3 wins on the season, but it feels like they've won quite a few of these matchups. They do it, for the second time against a Mountain West team. This time against Hawaii, a game where, they entered this game 2-5 in the season. Not much hope that they would get to a bowl game, and still no hope that they'll get to a bowl game, but doing just enough to play spoilers against a great Hawaii team that was going in this run rolling. Only 1 loss in Mountain West play. Walker Egan had another great performance. 458 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns. The running game coming in clutch. Lamar Radcliffe had 97 yards at a touchdown. Steve Chavis Soto putting up 3 scores off of 53 yards. Was Hawaii unable to stop that Spartans offense at all? Game that sort of got out of hand early in the second quarter, and from there is Hawaii playing catch up, and they just could not catch up in time. This game was 14-31 at half. Felt like it was going to be too much of a distance to make up the gap. A couple scores for Hawaii in the third quarter, and it was still a bowl game, but just ran out of time. Mike Alejado had a pretty good day himself. 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Plenty of scoring in this one, and what you got now is you got San Jose State 3-5 in the season, 2-2 in conference play. Just just outmatching Hawaii. For San Jose State fans, you got to be a little bit upset because it seems like they played this way sporadically through the year, and if they won uh, two more of these games early in the season, you'd be feeling much more confident in the outcome. Of course, I don't want to make it sound like San Jose State doesn't have a path to a bowl game. They do. They have about 4 games on the season. Those games include an Air Force and Nevada team, and then they're gonna have to pick off either a San Diego State or a Fresno State, which is very possible. In fact, I'm willing to believe that if they can play the way they played on Saturday, if they can play that way the rest of the season, they can surely beat a Nevada team. They can surely beat an Air Force team, and maybe slip away a win against a Fresno State team to end the season. At that point, they've got their 6 wins, 6-6 on the season, and it would not be out of reach with that offense to somehow beat San Diego State. So they're very much in it, and that would be the weirdest ways to end the season on a 5-game win streak and find themselves in a bowl game. Hawaii's still very much in it. 6-3 on the season, 3-2 in conference play. Now they're just with this long list of teams all matching 2 losses on the season. Hawaii does have some tough games coming up. They're gonna have to win out if they want a chance at maybe getting to the Mountain West title game. They're bowl eligible. The season is a success, but I know they have higher aspirations. They have a very winnable game to end the season with Wyoming. It's not a shoe-in, and they have tough matchups with UNLV and San Diego State, currently leading the Mountain West right now. So tough games coming up. Certainly can't let off the gas pedal. They're gonna have to regroup and find a way to win the majority of these next few games. If they do, they could be the Mountain West title game, nice bowl game, plenty of room for them to succeed the rest of the way. San Jose State wins this one 45, Hawaii 38.